Hello, everyone. Hello. All right. Welcome back. So, guys, if you guys are new to my channel, I'm Dr. Melissa J. Williams. Live your best life doing what you love. All right. I teach small business owners how to engage in government contracts. I actually teach small business owners how to win contracts by positioning themselves, their experience, and their business in order to win government contracts. I also teach them how to utilize technology in order to work smarter versus harder. So again, if you guys are new, welcome. And for those returning, thank you guys so much for subscribing to my channel. So if you guys would do me a favor, I want you guys to give this video a thumbs up, and also the new ones, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on content like this. So today what we're going to be talking about, RFPs and RFQs, all right? So requests for proposals and requests for quotes. All right, so now, again, whether you guys are a small business owner or a freelancer, or if you're just a part of a large enterprise, right? Understanding how to respond to these types of requests is going to be key for you guys to be landing contracts and growing your business. So if you guys have been wondering, right, how to approach an RFP or an RFQ, I want to make sure that I explain the process to you guys so that you guys won't feel overwhelmed. So by the end of this video, all right, you will have a clear roadmap on how you need to craft your response, right, and set yourself up for success in bidding on these types of situations. So that's what I want to make sure that you guys get from this video. All right, first, again, I want to break down exactly what an RFP is and RFQ. All right, so an RFP, which is a request for proposal, it's a formal document, right? It's a formal document that organizes or that organizations they send out, right, when they're looking for suppliers or vendors or someone to service a specific type of project or service. All right, and so the key here, guys, is that the company, all right, is asking for detailed proposal. All right, a detailed proposal that outlines how you plan. All right, so they want a detailed plan on how you will complete the project. They want to see your approach. They want to see your pricing. They want to see your qualification, and they want to maybe even meet your team. So an RFP is really, guys, about showcasing your expertise and proposing a comprehensive solution, right, to their business challenge. All right, so very important that you guys understand that it's your unique selling proposition. All right, so now with an RFQ, request for quote, all right, it's a little bit different in the sense that an RFQ, what they're using and looking for it's pretty straightforward because it's normally for products and services, and it's when the scope is well defined. The scope is well defined, right? And so what that means is that they're looking for pricing, and pricing is what the main differentiator, right? So in this case, the company knows exactly what they want, right? And what they're doing is they're sending out a request for quote to various vendors, trying to see who can give them the best price for the product or the services that they're seeking. All right, in an RFQ, they're typically less detailed than an RFP, and they focus primarily, again, on pricing and the basic terms of the service, right? And so There's different types of terms of service, and I go over that in another video. All right, but understanding the differences between an RFQ and an RFP is crucial, right? And it's crucial because how you respond to each of them is going to vary a bit. All right, so don't worry. We're going to keep breaking it down. We're going to keep breaking it down. All right, so that you'll be able to understand and be able to handle both types. Let's start with the RFP. All right, the RFP, the request for proposals. All right, the process still might seem daunting to you guys, but when we break it down, you'll be able to understand. And what I always suggest that you do when you're dealing with these is to make sure that you break it down. And you know, they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So we're gonna break it down into manageable pieces. All right, so here are the step-by-step processes for understanding and responding to an RFP. All right. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you understand the requirements. All right, you understand the requirements. And many of my small businesses, they kind of get stuck here, right? And so in our course, in our program, we teach you how to utilize ChatGPT in order to insert your request for proposal in ChatGPT, and mine's called Denzel, will help you break it down, right? And so that you'll understand exactly what the requirements are. All right, and so when you receive an RFP, the first thing you want to do is you want to read it very carefully. You want to read it very carefully, and you want to read the entire document. And so, like I said, being able to utilize, ChatGPT will help you to be able to make sure that you don't miss anything. All right, you want to understand the objectives of the project. What are they asking? What do they want? All right, and that's called the scope of work. So you want to make sure that you understand the scope of the work, or the SOW. Oftentimes you'll see that in the solicitation. And so you want to understand the scope of work. You want to make sure you understand the timeline. When does this project need to start, and how long should the project actually take? And you want to make sure you understand any other specific requirements. All right. The next area that we're going to talk about is you want to research the issuing organization. You want to research the issuing organization. All right. So who's actually seeking this work? Like, is it the Department of Homeland Security? Is it the VA? Is it GS administration? Any of the federal agencies? Is it the Department of Transportation? It could even be the Department of Energy, but any of the federal agencies, or if it's local, you want to make sure that you understand that local agency. So you want to know and make sure that you research who they are, because oftentimes researching who is actually issuing the proposal will also give you insights on maybe their overall objectives, right? And that is something that you can utilize, because of course, when the contracting officer is looking at your proposal, and then you understand that their key initiative, right, for 2025, 26, 27, or whatever year you're in, it aligns with their key and overall goal. Research the company or the organization that's submitting the RFP. Very important. And I don't want you guys to just skim over the organization or the RFP. I really want you to dive in so that you totally understand what it is the organization is looking for and what they're requesting from you in your organization. All right, so very, very important. And if you guys get these steps down, I promise you, you will be on your way to winning contracts. And that's what we're here to help you do. I want you to make sure that you understand the text, all right, behind the RFP, all right, and that will help you to what? Tailor your proposal to what? Make sure that you meet their expectation and even what? Exceed their expectation. That's important, right? You want to what? Outshine the other competitors. And when you do that, then there's no what? Competition at all, right? Because they don't have a choice but to award you the proposal, all right, or the contract. All right, and then the next thing, number 3, is I want you guys to what? Create a team. Create a team. And we talk about how you can do that, especially if you're responding to RFPs in my course, in my program, because your team and their experience is very critical oftentimes, right, to showing the organization that you are skilled and capable, right, of providing the organization with exactly what they need, right? Because oftentimes what I find is that my small business owners, they may not actually have all of the skills that's needed to respond to an RFP. So what they do is they learn how to utilize LinkedIn, and we teach that in the course, right? To find individuals that they can add to their team, that they can add to their proposal, right? To help them to what? Ensure that they have the experience in order to respond successfully, all right, to the RFP. All right, and so you want to make sure that your team is filled with experts, all right, and you want to make sure that the experts that you hire, right, are people who can handle, all right, the technical aspects of the proposals, all right, someone that can what? Focus on pricing, and someone that can oversee the writing and the presentation of the proposal, okay? Because oftentimes when you're responding to an RFP, right, when they decide that they want to look at your organization, you may have to present your overall approach to the contracting officer and or a board, so that they can what, especially if they've not worked with you before, so that they can what, feel comfortable that if they award that contract to you and your company, that you have the experience and the team and the wherewithal to be able to respond to the proposal and actually deliver on your promise to the client. All right, so very important that you build an amazing team. All right, and then 4th, I want you to outline your proposal. Start with an outline. All right, and I know this may sound elementary, all right, but you know, back in school you had to start with the introduction, right? You had to start with an introduction. You had to make sure in the introduction you're what, making it clear to the contracting officer and their team of evaluators that you understand the project, right? That you understand the project, all right? And that you're able to articulate within that introduction your methodology. How are you going to approach the proposal, right? You make sure in the introduction and in the proposal that, or your outline, that you talk about the timeline, you talk about your qualifications, and also then you may even need to what, break down in detail your pricing. Very, very important, right? And so it's crucial that if there's questions in the RFP, that you answer each and every one of them. All right. You don't want to do work for an RFP and the proposal asks a question and you miss answering that question, all right, within the proposal, and hence you make your submission unresponsive. So you want to make sure that you answer every question of the RFP. All right, very important. All right, now here comes the fun part. All right, now you've got to write the proposal. You've got to write the proposal. you're gonna dive into the writing process. And again, in our course, we talk about how to utilize technology. All right, because ChatGPT can't write it for you, right? And there's various prompts that you have to learn how to utilize in order to write an amazing proposal. But we talk about how to utilize technology, AI, in order to assist you with writing the proposal. And you want to make sure that you need to remember that the evaluators will likely go through dozens of proposals, right? Just like yours. And so you want to make sure that it's easy to read, right? You don't want to necessarily write a proposal that you would submit if you was working on your master's or your PhD, right? They're not looking for a dissertation or a thesis, right? You want to make sure that it's written in a fashion, in a form that's easy for them to read, right? Very succinct. Everything is organized, right? And it's really good to organize it in the format that's within the proposal, because then they can easily just check it off and go through it. And then, of course, you want to review and submit it. All right, this is important. You want to review it to make sure, right, that you didn't miss anything. And oftentimes, if the proposal doesn't come with a checklist, I suggest that you create a checklist, right? So that you ensure that everything that's requested within the proposal that you addressed. You want to look for gaps in your information. You want to look for spelling. You want to look for anything that might confuse the reader. All right. And once you've done that, and all right, if you find any mistakes, you want to make the revisions, right? Don't just look and forget to make the revisions. You want to make the revisions according to what the proposal is asking and what mistakes or missing things that you found. And then you want to submit it according to the guidelines that was provided in the proposal, right? And so again, a lot of businesses, they fail here because if the proposal is due at 2:00 on, let's just say, the 5th of the month, right? You can't submit the proposal at 2:03 or 2:10. All right, you have to submit it when it's due or before it's due, right? Some proposals also require you to mail the proposal. So if you have to mail the proposal, you want to make sure that you give yourself enough time, all right, to get the proposal completed, reviewed, and submitted and mailed off. And then also, what I always tell my students, and what we always do in our company, is we make sure that we get when we mail it, we get a receipt that we know that someone signed for, and it will tell us exactly when it was delivered, so that we know that it was received on time, right? So the goal with an RFP is to respond, is to show up, to show them that you can do the work. And so this is where you really want to showcase, right, your unique selling proposition. All right, you can do this. All right, so now we're going to talk about an RFQ, request for quote. All right, so a lot different from an RFP. All right, so since an RFQ is typically very straightforward, guys, all right, the process is a little simpler, I think, right, for me, and for most small businesses than an RFP, right, because it's simpler, and what they're looking for is they're mainly focusing on your price, right? They're looking typically for the lowest price, but that doesn't mean that you should not concentrate, just as you shouldn't concentrate and focus on your RFQ. All right, so here is a really good approach that you guys can take. All right, so when you have an RFQ, you want to review the specifications. All right, again, the contracting officer, they're looking for price. All right, in the RFQ, it should include a clear list of items and or services that the company needs, and you want to make sure that you read it very carefully to ensure that you can meet the requirements. That's very important. We're going to talk about that for just a second. Oftentimes small businesses, what they see an RFQ that may be within their wheelhouse and they think that they can do it, but if they don't read the RFQ thoroughly, right, they may think that they can respond to it, but later they find out that they can't. And so you've wasted a lot of time, right, thinking that you can respond where you could have moved on to the next RFQ. So I want you guys to make sure that you read the RFQ very, very carefully to make sure that you can meet all of the requirements. And you know, if you ever run across an RFQ and you don't understand it, right, don't hesitate. Do not hesitate to contact the contracting officer and ask for clarification. Oftentimes, when you're responding to an RFP and or an RFQ, right, there is a specific time that you can ask questions, right, and that's outlined normally in the solicitation or the RFP or RFQ. It tells you when you can ask questions. So make sure if there's anything that you're not clear on, that you ask questions. All right, and then the next thing you want to do, number 2, you want to determine your prices. All right, pricing is everything when you're responding to an RFQ, right? So unlike an RFP, when your company, when you're competing on your solutions and your expertise, an RFQ, oftentimes it's just want to know who can give the government, right, the best price. All right, they want to get the best price and, you know, the best bang for their buck. All right, and so you want to make sure that this is important, that you calculate your costs accurately and that you consider, right, your profit margin, all right, very carefully, because many small businesses, when you're responding to an RFQ, you may be utilizing the middleman strategy. And the middleman strategy is that you're not actually providing the product and or the service. You may be subcontracting that out to another organization or business, right? And so, for example, that business may be telling you that, hey, it's gonna cost, for example, $100,000. We're going to make sure that that doesn't happen to you, all right? Because I'm teaching you the common mistakes that are made when responding to an RFP and an RFQ, all right? So don't ignore the deadline. Don't ignore the deadline. And always make sure that you know, right? If you create an outline, you know, you can give yourself, you know, 2 or 3 days in order to gather your information, read the RFQ and RFP. You know, give yourself a couple days to read it. Give yourself a couple of days to make sure that it's something that you can do, right? And then you want to create like a checklist, like I said, and or, you know, I need to make sure that I am submitting this RFP on this date, right? So that you know that it's going to be able to reach the contracting officer on time. So you don't want to wait to the last minute to review, all right, and revise your response. You want to do it and set a calendar, set a reminder so that you don't wait until the last minute, all right? That's a common mistake that so many small businesses make when submitting an RFQ and an RFP. All right, and so not customizing your proposal or your quote. All right, so it's very important, guys, that you Don't just respond to an RFP and RFQ, all right, without customizing it for your specific organization. You don't want to use a generic or you don't want to use a generic or a cookie cutter response. That won't set you apart, right? You want to make sure that you create a very highly professional response that is going to set you apart, all right? You want to make sure that you stand out from the competition, all right? So you want to customize your response. The next thing, number 5, is that you want to make sure that your price is not too high or too low, all right? A common mistake, all right, is with an RFQ, because pricing is very critical, you want to make sure you're careful. You don't want to submit a RFQ where it's too high, right? Because then you have no chance of winning. And if you have the ability, guys, to do research, oftentimes RFQs are rebidded over and over and over again, year after year. So if you have the time, and I suggest that you make the time, all right? And if you don't have the time, then you may want to pass up, on that solicitation. You may want to just say, hey, I'm not going to bid on that one because I don't have the time. Because when these solicitations are rebidded over and over again, it gives you an opportunity to find out who won the quote, all right, be it an RFQ or an RFP in the past, right? How much was their proposal, all right? And so when you have that information, it will help you, all right, to be able to gauge, all right, if I think that I'm gonna charge the government $1 million and the last company won the same RFP for $350,000, your price might be too high, right? It might be too high, especially if it's the same type of work and nothing, drastically changed in what the government is asking, all right? And then, of course, you don't want to make it too low because you want to make sure that you have a profit margin set in, a reasonable profit margin with, as a project manager, you want to make sure that you think about the things that could go wrong, things that you know and you don't know, right? So that you can make sure that you have a contingency plan and funds to be able to protect yourself and make sure that, you at the end will receive the profit that you're trying to make. All right. And so the next thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you avoid these mistakes. Avoid these mistakes. All right. And how do you avoid these mistakes? Just take your time. Just take your time. All right. When you're responding to an RFP and an RFQ. All right. Avoiding these mistakes, guys, will ensure that your response is taken seriously and that it stands out in the crowd. All right. That's how you win. You want to stand out in the crowd, right? You don't want to just be a part of the stack of 100 proposals and the contracting officer's just like, okay, there's nothing great about this one. All right. All right. So let's just take a moment and go over some tips that can help you craft a winning proposal or a winning quote. All right. Again, we wanted to make sure that we're clear and concise. Remember, people, that are reading these documents, they're busy. All right. They're often busy. You want to keep the sentences clear and the ideas organized and avoid unnecessary stuff, right? We already talked about that. We want to avoid unnecessary stuff. We want to use bullets, all right, and headings, all right? You want to break down your text into bullet points. That's easier for the contracting officer to read. And you want to have numbered lists, all right, and bold headings, right? And you can keep those and they can align with the proposal or the RFQ RFQ. All right. This makes your proposal easier for them to skim and ensure that key points don't get lost. All right, and highlight your experience and your strengths. All right, that's critical. Highlight your experience and your strengths, especially when you're dealing with an RFP. All right, you want to emphasize, right, that you're the best fit for the job. All right, you want to mention that you've completed similar projects and that your team, right, has experienced similar projects and what their results were. All right, people like to hear that you've had amazing results. All right, and so you also want to make sure that you provide value. You don't want to just focus on meeting the requirements, right? You want to excel. You want to show the contracting officer that you know how to meet the solution, all right? And you want to add value to the organization that's seeking your company, right? And you may want to even have a more effective or efficient method for cost savings approach for the company or the federal agency. The agency is always looking for how can this organization save me, all right, in the future. All right, you want to make sure that you do things like this. Why? Because this is your opportunity to stand out, right? Impress them, all right? And you can do that easily. Just think about what it is that you can do in order to stand out. All right. And then, you want to offer a clear call to action. All right. A clear call to action. So at the end of your proposal or your quote, you want a strong call to action. You want to let the reader know exactly what you want them to do next. All right. Whether that's scheduling a meeting or signing a contract or getting back with you with questions. All right. So very important. All right. Very important, because some small businesses, they don't know to do that. All right. So finally, once you submitted your response, all right, again, we talked about this earlier. You need to follow up. You want to make sure that they got your proposal. All right. So after you submit your proposal or quote in a few days, right, you want to reach out and you want to check in. This will show them that you're committed, right? That you're committed and that you're serious about the opportunity. All right. And, and if they have any questions, you want to make sure you get that information or those questions back to them straight away. All right. So you want to make sure that you don't bombard the contracting officers with a lot of emails, a lot of calls. All right. And you want to make sure that you're polite and you're professional when you're speaking to them, right? I know that may seem elementary, but it's very important. You want to make sure that you stand out. You want to make sure that you start the way that you will be able to continue, by being professional, by being responsive, all right? And again, understanding that if the contracting officer asks you questions, all right, about your submission, they want you to get the answer back to them straight away, right? So that they can feel like they can count on you. They know that this company, this firm, they're professional, all right, they're organized, and they're going to get the information back to, me straight away, all right? Always make sure that you're to the point. And, you're not wasting the contracting officer's time, because you're not the only one that they're dealing with. All right. So to wrap up all of this, making sure that you're able to respond properly to an RFP and an RFQ it may seem intimidating at first. I get it. It may seem intimidating, but with the right approach, guys, you can turn these opportunities into valuable, all right, rewards for your company and your business, right? You just need to make sure that you understand the requirements and that you avoid common mistakes and that you follow, very important, a plan, a structured plan to respond to the RFP and RFQ. All right. And then you'll be on your way to being able to craft winning proposals and quotes and stand out. All right. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you found some information, and some insight in this video that what you can utilize. And if you can, put a comment below and let me know if there's other questions that you may have regarding how to effectively respond to an RFP and RFQ. All right, and I will address those in future videos. All right, again, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you will not miss out on information like this one. Again, I'm Dr. Melissa J. Williams. Live your best life doing what you love. You only have one life. All right, so stay healthy, happy, and God bless. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.